you've been superintendent in Cold Snack, I believe, and then
That's
you were
correct.
assistant superintendent in Summit.
Yes.
And you're also an adjunct professor at Montclair University and St. Peter's
That is
University. Is that correct? Is this a new theory that you came up with, or is this from the beginning of when you were superintendent or assistant superintendent even? Or principal?
Even when I was in Summit, we realized that our homework practices had us on a slippery slope because teachers were doing their own things in their own classrooms. Some were assigning a ton of homework. Some believed that they shouldn't assign any. And you can't have a district with teachers making those types of decisions. It's really sets you up for failure. We also had teachers that put different weights on homework. Some were weighting the final grade. 50% of the grade was based on homework. So kids could actually get C's on most of the tests and still get A's in the class. So it really, from an assistant superintendent perspective, was an issue I needed to tackle. Not really the quality back then, but we need to be consistent and we need to check to see what it's doing for grading, because it cannot lower a grade or higher a grade, because a grade has to be based on what a student knows against a standard.
I think other examples we've learned is that take this home, get it signed by your parent, and then if that doesn't happen, the student is held accountable for it through the grade. And so here we are, we're supposed to be helping our students grow and learn, but we are penalizing them because their parents didn't take the step to sign a piece of paper. And so we've looked at that now in district here to say, if it doesn't connect back to a student learning, it shouldn't be a part of the practice for homework.
Agreed. And I think the other piece too is that one of the things that the reason why we give assignments and assign tasks is so that we can look at student work and give them feedback, right, on how to improve. But some of the homework practices that we engage in currently really don't offer that, right? They just are simply out of, okay, compliance, done, check. You've now, you got a check plus or, a check minus on that assignment because it's done. Not that it's done and I have now received some feedback that says, all right, you did really well in this area, but let's set some goals so that you can improve in another area. And I think that's the type of meaningful piece that you really need to train teachers as to. These are effective homework practices because not only are they of higher cognitive level, but you're giving kids really good feedback on their work so that they can set goals for themselves and take their learning and take ownership of it.
Now, are you talking about individualized homework? Is that personalized per student? That would be a lot of work for the teacher, right?
It definitely would be, and that's why I think that when you're looking at that, you really have to think about what's meaningful and what's not meaningful. And I think when you decipher those two components, it's really easy to differentiate your assignments to meet the needs of the students in your care. I think that the more that you look at their individual needs and allow them to choose how they demonstrate their mastery of a skill, I think that's difficult, as far as an ownership for teachers, right? They usually,
And we find one of the ways to help that, because we recognize that is a huge task for a teacher and it puts a big weight on their shoulders.
Agreed.
But now with technology the way it is, they can really leverage some of the resources that we have available here in the district and that numerous other districts have as well, which are these intuitive software programs that gauge up or gauge down based on how the student's success rate is. So what we try to do is point out what those resources that are already existing are to help them lighten the load, because they are planning instruction all day long. And at the elementary level where we work, it's across multiple content areas. It's not even department specific, where it might be at the middle school or the high school level. So for our elementary teachers, the last thing we want to do is pile more on top of the shoulders, but we also want to call out something that's just not effective right now and improve it in whatever way we can.
And it's interesting, when you walk into any of our classrooms, the students know the objective. They know why they're doing and what they're doing and how that connects and promotes to what they need to do next and promote learning. They don't usually know that. If you ask our kids, and I ask my kids at home, why are you doing this homework assignment? They don't have a clue.
No idea.
It's because the teacher
it's
assigned
teacher
it.
assigned it.
So really,
tomorrow.
That's really called priming the brain. And not only is it a good practice because kids will be more likely to complete an assignment if they know the reason why, they're likely to elevate how good it is if they know the reason why, but it also does help store things in long-term memory. So if they prime the brain for their homework and say, tonight you're going to go home and do this because, and this is the reason why, almost setting objective, which is really not any more work on the teacher, it will change the homework practices in the classroom.
And then when you guys ask your kids, why are you doing this, they have an answer for you.
That would be nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually one of two. I don't know, right? Or because the teacher assigned it. Those are usually the two pieces. And I think that it's as simple as writing the objective on top of any particular, task that you assign, and so that kids can reference it and they get in it. And they can, form that link as to what they've learned or what they're going to learn.
And let's talk about age, because you are principals at elementary schools, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So should this change throughout as the child ages? Do you think that the different classrooms should have different homework mandates, or should it be all the way across the board, or not necessarily time, but just the objective and the cognitive abilities that we were talking about?
I think in that instance, the pieces that we've talked about with grading and with the time guidelines, there should be some consistency as far as what the district expects procedurally. I think when it comes to the assignment, I would prefer our teachers to maintain the ability to create and decide what is meaningful and what is relevant and what's going to help them based on a clear purpose, which we've mentioned before. But if you can connect back to the purpose for why you're assigning and how it's going to help the students learn, then I would support the teachers maintaining the ability to control what they're assigning for homework within the time guidelines. What we don't like to hear is that parent and student sitting across each other at the table for 2 hours, struggling, battling, tears, tantrums. You know, those are the examples that we want to move away from, and we want to have more efficient use of time that's going to help the kids learn, that the parents are going to see they are expecting something from them at home. It is going to help them in the classroom, but it's not going to result in me at the end of the night feeling exhausted and drained and emotional because I've had this exchange with my son or daughter.
And going back to differentiation, in classrooms, we know that students complete things at different rates and different speeds. And most of the time, we assign homework to the top students in the class, and it should only take them 20 minutes. But there are many students where it will take 40 minutes, 60 minutes. So it's a much better practice, and let's go back to mathematics because it's very concrete. And in saying in 5th grade, homework should only take you 15 minutes, and after 15 minutes I want you to draw a line on the paper and you're done. So as a teacher, I know that Jeff took 15 and Eddie did not even get close to finishing it. Now I can give him some feedback and help him or her. I can also see then which parents are really helping, and I know as a teacher in a classroom that's had some bad homework practices, I had some parents do very well in my classrooms. They completed the homework at very, their projects.
They got A+.
They had, they had stuff that would be, on a shelf at NASA for some of the
kids are playing Skylanders.
And there are other kids that really struggle because they don't have that support at home. So there's something, talk about the achievement or the opportunity gap. Homework can often spread that even further to the haves and the have-nots.